All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. I'm out of camp today. We actually have a really big event going on. The last 2 weekends we're hosting on behalf of the National Council. We're hosting what's called National Camping School, which is the program that all camp administrators and BSA scout camps all over the country have to go to get trained. So camp directors, program directors, aquatics directors, don't worry, they're only boating in the lake. They're swimming across the street at the conference center, although it's starting to warm up. And so we've had about 90 participants from all across the United States here last weekend, and then coming back on Friday morning to complete their training. So it's starting to feel a lot like summer camp out here, which is an awesome feeling as we turn from winter to springtime, and then eventually to summer. So I appreciate your time joining us, and we want to make your time effective. So my goal is we'll throw some information at you, hopefully be respectful of your time, and then under an hour, be able to stay behind for those that have additional questions, but let others go as well. So first, just some introductions. On the call are some members of our team. And when I call them, if you have to just unmute and say hello and kind of where you are for the summer. So first, Nathaniel Mathley, who is a longtime member of our team, started in the Heritage Center as an intern, and is now serving as our base camp director in charge of the program team for the Scouts BSA program. So Nathaniel, welcome.
Thank you so much, Pat. I'm really looking forward to a good season, and good to see everybody on the call this evening.
Excellent. And Nick Wolesick is here somewhere. Nick is a longtime staff member, favorite son of Troop 92 in Ashford here, and assistant director. Nick, you want to say hello?
Hello. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, so
good. Work is busy today.
so inspiring. And who just entered my office here for first Zooming somewhere else is the deputy director, Mr. Haas Haskell, who couldn't bear to be away from me, I guess, and Zoom from another room or another building. And so he had to come here as well. So Haas, you want to say hello?
Hey, gang. How's it going? Looking forward to a great summer. And I'll be here. I'm going to try to follow the chat as much as I can during the issue, but thanks for being here.
All right. Very good. So just, Zoom is part of our life these days. So if you do have questions, Haas is going to monitor the chat and try to answer some questions there. And then at the end, we are happy to do Q&A for anybody that wants to kind of go through there. So our agenda for tonight is we want to go through program changes that have occurred. We want to talk briefly about payments, the Black Pug system, which also dovetails to merit badge registrations, which is when I asked for questions you hope to get answered on the call tonight. That was one of them. Briefly on our campsite assignment policy, health forms, which is everybody's favorite topic, and then where to find information and all that going forward as well. So I'll try to hit some of the low-hanging fruit questions that some of you asked in the registration portal. The first one was somebody asked me to comment on the weather. Will the weather be warm, pleasant, not too hot, or wet this summer? So I don't know, maybe I'll defer to Nathaniel first. You're the old Econ Apex guy. You want to take a stab or prediction at the weather, and don't be wrong, because the group on this call will never let you forget it.
Right. Well, my crystal ball here says that it will be a dry season because, frankly, I don't want to be wearing rain boots half the summer.
All right. Very good. Very Haas, you want to take a stab at the weather?
Well, I consulted a chaplain, and the chaplain said they were in sales, not management. So not a great answer.
All right. I will take the shrewd politician's answer and not comment on the weather, so I don't overpromise or underpromise anything as well. But we will have a weather rock, and we can check it daily. The other questions were ones that I think we're going to be able to address throughout the program today. I just wanted to comment very quickly at the beginning about the Scouts BSA program with boy troops or girl troops or link troops. One of the best things that in my opinion, we've seen since the introduction of family scouting is a continuous growth of girls troops that are coming to camp. And it is great to see a full camp. It's great to see a diverse camp, and it's great to see family scouting growing. So our policies, a lot of times questions get asked of us about link troops as to, how the living arrangements are. Can a link troop stay together? Do they have to be separate when it comes to leadership stuff? We push a lot of those questions back to your troop committee and your chartered organization. So we've had some link troops that frankly come different weeks. The boys troop comes week 2 and the girls troop comes week 3. We've had link troops that their chartered organization has approved the leadership's request, your unit's leadership request, to stay in the same campsite. And you've talked about what your safeguards are to adhere to youth protection. And that's okay with us. We just ask that your chartered organization sign off on your unit's plan and you follow youth protection guidelines. So on our website, under the Scouts BSA section, which we call the Base Camp Hub, is kind of a one-pager about family scouting, girls troops and boys troops, as to kind of what that policy looks like from a council or a camp point of view. And we ask that you have conversations amongst your troop committee, amongst your adult leadership, and the plan that you come up with, your chartered organization signs off on as a whole. So I just wanted to make that comment at the beginning. And we do have a record number of girls troops coming to camp this summer, which I think is fantastic. The other thing I wanted to comment on in the beginning is we're really busy trying to improve the camp. This week in particular, now that the weather's turned, it started to show. We have 2 pavilions in construction progress in Site 7, so Site 7A and Site 7B. The wood's gone up in the 7A one this week. The foundations are in for both of them. Next week, the foundation's getting poured in Site 10B up in Cattywampus for those pavilions. So we're looking with the partnership of the Friends of Webster and their generosity. We're going to have those pavilions online as well. We've done a number of other working campsites, trying to improve them, shower and latrine facilities. And today we did a project that's been on our to-do list, at least in the 25 years that I've been involved in the camp, and that is to address our main camp road, and particularly the section just before the ash track through the parking lot. With our partnership with Crewcroft Excavating, who we've worked with for a long time, the road has been significantly widened from the main parking lot up to the first class path area. That during the week allows visitors that come in and out to go in and out the front gate and not have to worry about passing folks, to keep traffic down through the center of camp. But we also address the drainage piece there, and the hill's been paved today as well. So there's hard top there. It looks wonderful. There's curbing and backfilling that's going in there that should help our erosion problem and all of that as well. Not that I didn't chuckle at the Teslas going too fast over the bumps and the drainage coming into camp, but it's a major improvement to that section of camp. So we're really pleased about that. And there's a number of other things that we've been doing to try to make your stay the best. And it's really because of a partnership between the council and investments the council's made, and the great work of the Friends of Webster as a support team with that. And so before we get into the meat and potatoes, I just want to thank all of you for taking time to be a camp coordinator and to be a leader. Your job is not an easy one. Chasing parents, payments, health forms is not a fun part of the job, but you've agreed to take that on, and I thank you for that. And I do see Peter Kawa, who's the Scoutmaster of 274 in Avon here, and I assure you all that if Pete can do the job successfully, you can as well, right?
Wait, why am I getting called out? I mean, how many people are on this call and you go right to me, my friend?
I'm just saying that if you're nervous about the job, and
I am, because it's like 7 years and I still have,
so
7 years in a row, I still haven't figured it out. So I'm looking to make it better.
It's good to see you too.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah. All right. And the last kind of general thing is, we try to keep all of our website up to date. with information. And so this is what the front page of the site looks like. When you click on summer camp and then Scouts, Scout BSA, that brings you to what we call the base camp hub, is where we try to put all the information that we've released there for you as a unit coordinator, so that you have direct access to it in that regard. So instructions, both written and some video tutorials about how to use the Black Pug system is there, and other information as it gets released from our program team, will be posted in that section there. So with that, I think we'll start off with some exciting news before we get into some minutia. So Mr. Excitement himself, Nathaniel, do you want to tell us what our theme days are coming up at camp this year? So each day has got a different theme. I'm excited to hear about them.
Yeah. So the program team has been hard at work, and we are pulling both some classics, but also some new spins on time-old concepts. So if everybody has a pen and paper in front of them, or maybe their photographic memory. Or
we will send it to you after the meeting as well.
Yes, we will. So Monday will be My Hero Monday. This is going to be dress up as your favorite hero, fiction or nonfiction. So we want to see everything from Batman and Spider-Man to police officers, firefighters, or perhaps even their favorite member of the 50th District team there, maybe Mr. Pat Boyd. It'd be really funny if we saw a whole troop dressed as Pat. So then on Tuesday, we have Tie-Dye Tuesday, which Troop 36, I'm looking at you. I want to see some good tie-dye shirts out there this year. In terms of Wednesday, we will have Way Back Wednesday. I want you to think of this as some sort of decades day. We want to see things from the Middle Ages to ancient Egypt to colonial America. Brian Blake will be out there in his favorite colonial garb promoting the Homestead Project. As for Thursday, we have Tropical Thursday. Dust off your Hawaiian shirts, see if they still fit. If they don't, go out, buy another one. As we will be setting up our lounge chairs and kicking back for a luau. And then Friday, this is going to be a new one, Free for All Friday. So wear your favorite costume. It doesn't have to be on theme, but we want to see your best outfit that you can come up with. And we will do a bit of a competition during the breakfast hours. And that will be our 2022 theme days. Thank you, Pat.
That is exciting. All right, thank you. So just going through some changes that for units that are returning that you'll notice. For units that are new, we'll give her a chance to kind of give a sense of stuff. We are an open program camp, which means that outside of our merit badge offerings, which is largely from the 9 to noon and 2 to 3 hour, all of our program areas are open and staffed. Units will have the ability to choose troop or patrol activities during those times. Those are optional, and we actually recommend that you do not load up on them. The rest of the time, a scout and their buddy can choose what they do. So, we don't offer troop shoots like some camps do, but the range is open all afternoon and evening for a scout and their buddy to go down and do that. So we're not changing the essence of the open program piece. We did, however, take a hard look and listen to your feedback after we had to make some radical adjustments due to COVID from last year. And some of those things that we liked, or more importantly, you liked in the schedule and in the program that you thought were worth keeping. Before we get into that, just a quick word about COVID. Most of you know the state of Connecticut is not operating under any type of emergency orders at this time. So there are no special accommodations that camps are required to be under right now. So on a fundamental level, we are operating under regulations that are pre-COVID. And a reality level is that everybody is in a different place, right? And so masks are optional this year. And so those that wish to wear them, that is a personal choice, and there's not going to be any type of community judgment on that. But they are not required in camp. The state also does not have any vaccination requirements when it comes to the COVID vaccination. It's a recommended practice, and you should consult with your physician when making those choices. And we want everybody to be healthy, but there is no requirement that everybody who attends camp be vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccination. We are maintaining our protocols, just like we maintain protocols for everything you could think of for somebody who has an exposure in camp. We have kits, test kits, a number of them. And so, we're happy to be able to test people or offer kits to those that need them as well. But we've begun a programming in an operational standpoint for that. We are not currently need to make major accommodations due to COVID-19. Now, things are always subject to change, but I do not think the state of Connecticut is going to do any type of pivot between now and camp. So that's kind of where we are in that regard. After consulting a number of things, we did make some changes for this year, and we're going to be issuing out some updated program materials to you before camp starts. I'm kind of a traditionalist in camp, particularly when it comes to the dining hall. And so we've tried to strike the balance between what we've done before and what some of the overwhelming feedback was from all of you. And so we settled with this. Is every dinner is going to continue to be or go back to family style sit down dinner with waiters at tables in the dining hall. So dinners are going to return to the pre-COVID sense there. Lunch is going to continue the way it has been Monday through Thursday with what I call walkthrough, which is from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. A scout and their buddy or whatever arrangement you make as a leader can continue to come through and have lunch. Friday, however, is going to be the end of the week, the last meal before the barbecue. We are going to turn that into a sit-down meal. And so the idea behind that is every day of the week, we're going to have an opportunity where the entire community is in the dining hall for lunch or dinner. And the piece that makes sense with that is the overwhelming feedback from all of you is you like the feedback that you had in the flexibility that you had in the morning when it comes to breakfast. And particularly those of you who came to the dining hall between Polar Bear Swim and going back to your campsite, and some of the pinch points that you had getting your tender feet moving, we'll just say, first thing there. So breakfast is going to remain a walkthrough breakfast for a time period very similar to last year. So again, just the quick review again, dinners, with the exception of the Friday barbecue, are traditional family style sit-down dinner, the entire community with waiters. Lunch, Monday through Thursday, is going to be walkthrough. Friday is going to be a sit-down lunch, kind of our closing banquet, if you will. And then breakfast, Monday through Friday, is going to be walkthrough in that regard. So we're going to be putting out schedules that reflect that change as well. So that's kind of pivot and change. Number one, Haas. Haas is the guy I yell at in the side for. Is there a question, Johnny?
Yes, I say, do scouts need a COVID vaccine to attend?
As we say in the legislature, asked but answered, but I'll say it again. No, it is not required. Okay.
Food related, salad bar.
So the salad bar or some version of it will be returning. So as a reference for camp school these 2 weekends, our chef is John Ayer is doing our camp school meals. We kind of have the prepackaged ones, but we're transitioning to a salad bar or some variants of that. So yes, the salad bar will be back. Okay. Next pivot and change is we've gone back and forth for years now on technology regarding blue cards and record keeping. Blue cards largely haven't changed the process since, Haas was a scout back in when Ernest Thompson Seton and Baden Powell were leading his unit in Rockport, Mass. We consulted and talked. Yeah. He's kicking me here.
Is that Jeffrey?
we consulted with camps large and small across the country who have pivoted to an online reporting mechanism. And Camp Mattatuck, one of our sister camps, has been using the system for the last couple of years. And we've made the decision that we are going to go paperless with advancement reports and blue cards, which is a big shift. Frankly, of our leadership team, I was the last one to agree to this. Everybody else was saying this is the way to go. However, it does require a little bit of a shift for returning units. We had always asked you to register or to let us know which units you have coming to, or what your scouts' choices are for advancement program. The data we've used that for is largely for us to determine that do we have enough staffing for sections, right? We don't want to have 45 people show up for basket weaving, that type of thing. The reason it's important for all of you to register your scouts for merit badges is because that becomes the rosters that we base off of when entering completions or not. So the merit badge registration is completely based in Black Pug software. And so on our website, we have 2 versions of tutorials of how to register your scouts for their sections, their merit badges. We have a page-by-page PDF that was made by a scouter in our council who did this for his own unit. And he documented how he did it on a page-by-page and made a PDF and sent it to us as a guide to others. The other version is a video that is made by Black Pug, who is the software that we use for registration to show you how to do it. So it's a continuation of your registration. So in theory, you all registered, put down a $50 deposit for your campsite, okay? And then put in deposit per scout, or, and we'll talk about payments in a second, or today, put in their payment to get the lowest rate. When you put in a name, it gives you the option then to start selecting sections. And by section, I mean 9 o'clock archery, okay? And that attaches your selection to the scout that's registered, okay? And that's something you can continue to go back into if you haven't done it, but you put names in, or maybe you registered 10 scouts, but you put scout, you know, the old Scoutmaster trick is you put scout 1, scout 2, scout 3 to put a deposit down, and you put their name there. You can then register people that way. We have developed, actually, Nick Walesic on this call has developed a system that we're going to verify on Monday and Tuesday who's in each section, and then make sure that the software reflects who's present. So our record keeping in each class is not changing. You know, there's still going to be a roster because some of you that have lost your blue cards or they're misplaced or something, usually Michelle will send you kind of the one pager that's the class roster. We're still going to have that type of backup documentation. But when it's all said and done, we hit one button that emails you, the contingent coordinator, and says, you know, here's your advancement reports, and then you can choose how you get them, right? So if you want to print blue cards out in the traditional sense, you can do that. If you want to export into Scout Book, you can do that. If you want to print an advancement report that then you're going to bring to the Scout shop to buy merit badges, you can do that. The one nice thing about the Black Pug system is you can get reporting 1,000 different ways, depending on what you want to do with that. And, you know, yeah.
I have 3 questions.
Oh, yes.
Is there
McMahon here, Ed McMahon was shuffling, so I knew he had some questions that arisen. Go ahead.
Well, Johnny, the first question, contestant asks, can we make a change on Sunday when we arrive if Johnny has changed his mind or Jamie has?
Yes. The key part is you can make a change. Now, we're going to do some shuffling on our end to make things forward, but you can log in at any time to Black Pug and make a change to where scouts go. Okay. That is, as the coordinator, you have access to do that. So yes. Question number 2.
Number 2, how about Eagle Week badges that are often different than the regular offerings?
Great question, Haas. Eagle Week badges have been loaded into weeks 1 and 6 already. So there, if you're in weeks 1 or 6, when you go down the menu, you'll find the Eagle Week badges in that continuum, I guess, there already.
And thanks to Holly for that question. We also have someone for Scout Book. They usually have the instructors ahead of time to insert into Scout Book. So we'll have to work on getting that instructor list.
There's an export that you can put in the Scout Book. I confess it is not an area of expertise that I have, but I know there is an export that you can then load your data into whatever you do.
Changing 1 or 2 days in the camp, they changed their mind.
Well, so we're going to do, if somebody midweek changes, that's a fairly easy thing for us, right? And some scouts that come in and they need to do a one-off or something. We're going to have some blue cards here, but our primary system is not going to be based off of that. So if a scout comes in with a partial and they have their blue card, we can work with them and do that way. But for full week merit badges, we're gonna make this pivot this year, which is cleaner. And a lot of councils and some really big camps. We talked to a camp in Indianapolis that runs 4 camps on 1 reservation, and they swear by this as well. So it's a little bit of an adjustment for what we've done in the past, and frankly, it's a little bit of an adjustment for me too. But it's a tool. And it does have some benefits as well. So, awesome.
And despite Peter Carwile being picked on at the beginning, he did share that you'll be able to go to Blackpug and print out your scout schedules. So they, and also keep a copy in the campsite so you actually know where they are if there's a question or if they lost theirs already in the laundry.
Yep. So that is probably the biggest shift for a camp coordinator is, and frankly, we were kind of laissez-faire about it before. We have offered the sign up for merit badges for Blackpug, and some of you have been doing that for a while now. We've also had the old Google form sheet, and we've also had a number of units that didn't just send kids there Monday morning with a blue card. For this to work, we need to make sure that you load your scouts and pick their schedules in Blackpug. And certainly when you're on site, we can assist you with that. When you're here on Sunday, our team can help you with that. But there are a number of tutorials out there how to do that. We have posted on the website, both the PDF of step-by-step. And I will tell you, the Scoutmaster that developed the PDF and walked through it is a traditionalist who, you would have thought was in Baden Palace Patrol. And he's built this forward. And then there's the video with the Blackpug company themselves. I'll walk through that. So I guess any other questions on the blue card merit badge registration piece while we're on that module? Johnny or Ed?
Yeah. So one of the issues, a scout was sick last year, couldn't finish stuff. Yeah, if you have a scout book printout, that's great, but we'll have our printouts by the week.
Yeah, we have we have all the records from the last 5 years that we have in camp. If they have a blue card, we'll make it work. It doesn't have to be there for that. But all full week merit badges are going to be registered through that system.
And deadlines for the merit badge selection.
So frankly, the deadline is before you walk on the property.
So Pat, if I can jump in, the only thing I noticed on the Blackpug, and it worked great, I did 30 scouts in like an hour and did all of their classes. So the system works. Everything is working. I talked to Michelle a little bit. The only thing that wasn't there was a counter on the ATV class. So usually what happens is that when you sign up for ATVs, you have a counter because there's only like 10 allowed in each session.
Yep.
And when it gets to 0, you can't register for it. That counter wasn't up yesterday. So I'm not sure what your ADV registrations will look like.
Yep.
So checking because I signed up a bunch and, you know, I'm sure others have as well. So that's my only input on that. Everything else, all the Eagles were there, and then the BSA, like, lifeguard and climbing and cope and all that stuff is right.
Thank you. The other thing to note is we have very few merit badges that have I'll say an upcharge, for lack of better term. Shotgun, the ATV program, golf, and SpaceX.
Welding.
And welding. Those fees are tagged onto when you register that scout. So your balance due or your running tab should reflect a $10 upcharge here or $50 for the ATV to keep that in line there, which is a shift than in the past, but we figured we try to use the technology that's available to us because you're all registering, your units using the Black Plug system. So that's the only other thing of note in that regard. John.
And any scout who does want to change in the middle of the week, as Pat said, you can go to Black Plug and change it, but it'd be worth walking down to that area director and saying, hey, Tommy had an issue. We wanted to get into this class. What can we do for him? So the face-to-face is still good, but you can put it into Black Plug. So therefore, it will generate a report at the end of the week of what requirements were met or completed.
Yep. So I did see pop up here without Haas's assistance. The question about the sibling discount. So we can pivot into fees here. And I don't know. I don't know if Michelle jumped on or not.
No, they're up. I did them yesterday. The sibling discount is calculated correctly, but you have to match the addresses correct. So if you got two brothers or two sisters going to camp and you sign up Joe Smith and John Smith, right? You have to put the addresses and they have to be exact. And then when you check out, the sibling discounts will be automatically calculated correctly. So
it matches, it matches addresses, and that's how it figures out your siblings.
That's correct. So when you log in, it will match addresses. So you know how we all skip that part because we don't have the quick addresses? You have to put the sibling addresses exactly, like whatever nomenclature you use, and then it'll match the addresses. So I had 4 sets of sibling groups. I signed up 30 yesterday and it calculated correctly, but it took a call to Michelle and then she set me straight and we worked it out. So my advice to everybody, match
I will
the addresses.
just note, yes, to save Michelle another call, which I had to do, was it doesn't say sibling discount. It just says discount. So if you're looking through and you have the early bird discount, the siblings, it just says discount. So you might be confused, but it is there.
Yeah, it should be $50 applied to the second. It's $50 applied, and you can click on it and give you the details. And if you go back and forth, yeah, poor Michelle probably answered that.
Yeah.
question.
So that Pete, you brought up a good comment. And I know it seems bizarre, but it's actually applied. So the first scout is technically a full pay to whatever your level is.
Correct.
And the discount for both of them is applied to the second.
That's correct. So when you look at your bill at the end, it does it a little weird. So it shows, just so everybody knows, because I had trouble matching it, it'll show the non-early rate. Then it'll show your $50 site reservation fee in addition. Then it'll credit your $50 scout registration fee. Then it will show, if you pay by midnight, it'll show your early bird discount. So the first number at the top is like full boat, you paid late, everybody. And then it does extra program fees. Then it subtracts the discounts. And it is the, whoever said that was correct. It just says discounts, doesn't say sibling discounts. And then it does, it worked for me. So I mean, the system worked as it should. The only trick knowing you have to put the addresses in exactly to get the sibling discount.
Thank you for that. We're keeping some side notes to
siblings in different troops.
Yeah. So if there's a sibling in a different troop, my understanding is if the address thing is the same, it will connect to that.
Okay.
If not, if you send Michelle an email and say Scout A in troop this and Scout B in troop this, she will make the connection to work. But she did think the system would find each other as well. And that also crosses into Scout A attending Scout BSA resident camp with Troop 007 and Sibling B attending full week Weeblos resident camp with Pack whatever. It will make that connection too. And if not, Michelle is happy to help with that. So the apples and orange thing, a day camp doesn't count as a second week, but we're talking apples, resident camp, doesn't matter if it's Scout BSA or full week resident camp, if it's our Cub camp as well. So continuing just kind of on fees here we pushed hard and had great conversations with our Scout executive and the board about camp fees. And we're actually really proud that we are the lowest camp fee right now, really in the Northeast. And we were able to push out a number of things. And I know some people got confused early on because in past years, pre-COVID, it was if you put down a deposit for a scout, that unlocked a follow-up full payment in May for the lowest possible rate, right? To get the lowest possible rate, you had to do 2, right? This year, we asked everybody to help us with budgeting and ordering and hiring to put deposits in back in March. A good number of you did. Don't feel bad if you didn't. But if you've paid in full by Cinco de Mayo, which is today, you get the $450 rate per scout, pre any other discounts, right? Which is one of the latest to be paid. Now, some of you may have not done it yet. It's not midnight. That's okay. We'll work with you tomorrow and into the weekend if you're ready to do it and just haven't had the opportunity to do so. We're not sitting there tapping at our feet and saying, ha, it's 12:01. I got you, Kawa. 475.
Hey, I paid like 13 grand yesterday. I'm good. Don't come at me. Call someone else out.
Thank you. The system is going to lock down at midnight, but if you email Michelle and I tomorrow or late tonight or whenever you're doing it, we're reasonable people. So we're not going to say, well, it's Friday morning, too bad, right? So we'll work with you through the weekend to do that. Going forward, right, the regular camp fee, the non-discounted, non-early bird is $475, which frankly is still cheaper than most other camps and councils in this area. But that's where we are from there. There's no further penalties and all this stuff. I'm just asking that you communicate if your numbers are vastly changing, right, that you just let us know. And I hope you all have wonderful crossovers this spring and you gain 25 scouts and they all want to come to camp. That's great news. And know that crossovers or scouts that are brand new to the program will always be afforded the lowest possible rate of $450. Okay. So again, your crossovers, regardless if the kid joins your troop for the first time a week before camp, will be afforded the lowest rate. And we're trying not to nickel and dime all of you in this process as well. But that's where we are. Haas, is there a question?
Yes. Third sibling discount, same system. Will they automatically pick up?
Yes. So it is $100 discount for a second week of camp. And I sent a clarification out on this, and this is the second week of scout camp. So if they go to Maine High Adventure the last week of June and they're coming to Jay and Webster mid-July, that's a second week of camp. Okay. If they're going to Camp Mattatuck and they come to Webster in August, that's a second week of camp. If they come with their troop and they're coming later on, it's a second week of camp. What we can't do is, if you're going to the sea base in August, say, hey, camp's the second week. When are you coming? The first week of July. Well, no, actually the sea base is your second week of camp. And we can't say events in December, January, February are a second week of camp. We're talking summer season. If somebody goes to Jamboree or NOAC or Scout Camp, anywhere, high adventure base, and coming to Jay and Webster is your second week. It's there with that. So that is part of that. Most likely we're going to offer a special promotion for week 7 with our specialty camps, but we'll announce that down the road as well. Adult leaders, it's a little confusing or could be confusing when you sign up your adult leaders on Blackbug because it assigns a number to them, but then we'll discount it, your basic unit leadership at the closeout. Pete, am I telling the truth or?
You are telling the truth, and it confused me as to why the heck does it do that? But then I saw it zeroed out when I checked out, so it was all good. I don't know what number it triggers where you get charged for that, but I signed up like 4 leaders and it didn't charge me. So.
Yep. So every unit is afforded for youth protection purposes 2 free leaders to start with. It doesn't matter if you're bringing 5 kids or you're bringing 50, you have 2 off the bat, and then it's 1 for every 10 going forward in that regard. And just make sure that, if you have leaders that are coming and going, we're counting as if they are one leader. So if they're not really overlapping, it's one kind of continuous leader as opposed to each individual being a different person. So, and we can deal with that, differently. And if you have some folks coming in for just a day, we can deal with, a by the day, pay for your meals type thing as well. Other questions about fees?
There was one about registering after the day, and I think you already answered. Yes, you continue to register people at $475 unless they're one of those crossovers that you want.
Yep. When the clock strikes midnight and you're just having things, if you contact us first thing tomorrow, Michelle and I, we will afford you the $450 rate. If you contact us tomorrow and work through the weekend, beyond that, anybody new who's not a crossover is $475 up until they arrive at camp.
And if you go into Black Pug and register scouts today to get that good fee, you can go back later and put the merit badges in.
Yes.
You can. Yes. So you can keep logging in with that. I think somebody asked the question, or the note Haas asked me, is if multiple adults can be access to an account. I don't know. I will have to get an answer on that.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well,
the great Oz has spoken. Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome, but it's not going to. You just advice, and I'm nobody. Don't have multiple account people go in there. One person just take it on and do the whole unit. That way, you don't have people going there and changing their classes, because you can make infinite number of changes, and it's better controls if you just assign it to one person.
So just a best practice, there's two ways that I've heard it's worked well. One is you print out the merit badge schedule for the day. At troop meeting, you hand it out, and Spark can go through and highlight what they want, and then that becomes a data input piece. Or Scoutmaster Pete sits in the corner of the unit meeting with his laptop open, connected to the Wi-Fi, and scouts come over and you do the input that way. I don't know, Pete, you have another best
Yeah, we shared it. We created like a blank shared Google Doc, send everybody the link, posted the schedule right below it, and says by yesterday, pick all your classes, and everybody did it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Except the first class path guys, which we just signed up for first class path, obviously.
Yep.
We don't have the crossovers in the first year sign up, so for obvious reasons. So no, we just shared a Google Doc with a blank kind of schedule template, 9, 10, 11, 2, nighttime, sign up for what you want. We listed the fees, so they knew that golf was 20 or shotgun was 20 and golf was whatever, 30 and ATV was 50 or whatever. And then we just did it that way.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
There's other ways to do it.
Pete is right. It is better. Your Pete, you were just talking.
Yep.
He is correct. It is better to have one person do it, but anyone who has a registration link can go in and edit if you're logged in. So
I don't know who would get the registration link. So you could forward the registration link to someone else to go in.
That's right, because we have like 50. We have like 50 scouts. So one of us does admin and one of us does advancement.
I get you.
But it's very dangerous, because anybody who has a link and has a sign in can edit it. So
and
you want to be careful.
I would completely agree with that.
Well, I'm learning something new myself here, because admittedly I'm not on the user end, so I appreciate the.
Pat, we are here for you.
I feel that. Thank you.
That's it. That's all I can say is we are here for you.
Okay, just continuing to run down my list. A couple things that we've been working hard on in the off season this year is we're trying to make our onboarding experience more efficient. My goal is to become the model of efficiency when it comes to Sundays. And so one of the ideas our team came up with and we're going to be implementing is your unit meeting, the last troop meeting you have before summer camp, okay, is we're going to actually give you a unit meeting syllabus for part of your meeting of some stuff that ideally we'd like you to cover as a unit that may have corresponding YouTube videos that we put up there. So these are things that we don't necessarily have to do in person for check-in, right? So we're looking at how we handle the whole coming in on the field type thing. Last year, because of COVID, we had nurses go to your campsite. At the end of the summer, for some of the smaller weeks, we had a central point that wasn't the health lodge, that was med intake and stuff. And a lot of parents want to have a conversation. So we're kind of retooling that. We're still staffing up on Sundays, which is one of the benefits. You know, we had a ton of nurses who were here working with different units and stuff. And so we're going to have them in a central place. But ideally, this syllabus deals with some of the things you get during the onboarding process, such as the shooting sports program, right? And the waterfront program. So part of that's going to be some stuff that you and your SPL would review with your unit. And then we'll give you a link to the waterfront or a portion of the waterfront orientation that you can actually watch with your unit or disseminate to your scouts and their parents. They watch before they come to camp at that last troop meeting. And then when you get here, we do the basic stuff for safety purposes. And then we go into the action stuff, the swim test, if you've opted not to take your swim test at a pool or something like that as well. I didn't even read the note, but Haas is shaking his head that I answered it.
That was on.
So we still offer, and on the base camp hub, there's a sheet that if you have BSA lifeguards or qualified aquatic supervision, and you want to go to your town pool and do your swim test, there's the instructions there. There's the roster we need, and with the certification and the credential level of the person doing that, that's okay with us. If you're going to do them here, that's okay with us too. But we're trying to spend the time we need to onboard you, but not have any hurry up and wait moments that exist, right? So we're adding some stuff for that, and we're going to have a troop meeting syllabus that we get to you and say, hey, if you and your SPL could cover these items at the last troop meeting you have before camp, and these are 2 videos that are associated with it, we can go from there. And I promise you, I'm not going to do like Jurassic Park, where I'll be interacting with a video of myself at the very beginning when it comes to that. But that was a suggestion. I think it's a good way for us to make it more efficient with all of you coming into camp. What this also means, and the ultimate goal is that 7 o'clock leaders meeting that we have, that we separate you from your scouts, we're trying to eliminate that so that we meet at like 4 o'clock before dinner, and we have time to do things and get settled before it gets nighttime. So we are redoing Sunday a little bit to make it more efficient, more smooth, and then get you all onboarded and ready to go. And is that Nathaniel making fun of me in the messaging? So look for more information about that as we get later into early June. We can disseminate some of that information as well. And kind of the last really big thing, and then we can get into some Q&A stuff, is health forms. Health forms. Everybody loves health forms. We are required by the state to have very meticulous reporting of medications, allergies, those types of things. Our health form packet is posted online. It is the same as last year. National has issued a draft and a new health form. There are slight changes for it, but for our purposes, the health packet that is online is acceptable and what we can do as well. The question often comes up, I have a sports physical, I have a whatever physical that exists that was done in January, but it's not the BSA. What we're going to end up doing, and so it'd be helpful if you do this ahead of time, is to take the BSA form and staple it to that sports physical and fill out parts A and B, and the part requiring the doctor's signature is valid on the alternate physical that you have, okay? There are some things we have to have care plans for, and most parents that has a scout coming to camp that would require a care plan for diabetics, for other things, they generally know that already and have care plans, and we'll need to have them attached. Again, we attach them to the health forms and it goes through the process. So this leads into how are we collecting them? What is our touch base? We are going to have an optional meeting at the end of June, and somebody pointed out that the date we floated was Father's Day. I prefer to have my father come to camp and work to help get it ready. But I know that's not ideal for everybody. So we're revisiting the actual day. but inviting you to come out. And we're going to have a health form fair again for those of you who want to actually sit down with a nurse or a member of the health staff and review them. We did this last year. A number of people took advantage of it. We'll do another one mid-season. If that doesn't work for you, if you could send us your health forms prior to camp, ideally mail them in or drop them off 2 weeks before. That gives our health staff a chance to review them, flag them, and get back in contact with you if there's any types of issues. So you're probably saying, oh, you're not going back to having us bring them the Tuesday before in person. One of the feedback items that we had from folks is they really like the ability on Tuesday before they come to camp to do a Zoom meeting for last minute information rather than having to come out to camp. Some of you drive very long distances and do that. So we're trying to kind of have the best of both worlds, where we invite everybody to come out at a convenient time to do a steak fry, to meet our staff in person, and do some health form review. And then the Tuesday before, we'll meet on Zoom for last minute information. So again, we'll review them in person, 2 dates during the summer, or if you can get them to us, ideally around 2 weeks, a week and a half before you come to camp. The earlier, the better. And Gus reported last year was the best year she's ever had for health forms that came in prior to camp. And believe me, if Gus is struggling with health forms and getting them, I know about it. And she was very, very happy and thankful to all of you for your due diligence when it comes to that. Somebody, did I just see an email question, Hoss?
Yeah, one was, will things be collected at the campsite? Checking at the campsite?
No.
Okay.
So as I said before, we're going to streamline it. Again, don't hold me to this, but we're looking at setting up right in the parade field a giant nursing station with the same number of nurses and EMTs we had last time for onboarding, and not have to go out to every campsite, but still having the massive numbers, because frankly, parents want to talk to the nurse in most cases. So make them accessible for your drop-off point there. More information to come with that, but we're going to try to make that much more smooth. And we don't have the need to separate everybody as we did last year by regulation, sorry. Yes, John.
Another medical question, and since I'm married to the nurse, I can probably relate. Asking about email. One thing is, email is not a secure way to send medical information. That's why your doctor's office still uses a fax machine. We have fax machine, and the number is posted. Most troops find better by putting everything into a priority mail and shipping it up. If you were to email a form, that's one thing, but if you're sending 40 forms of 7 or 8 pages each, what happens is that our medical staff now becomes the secretarial staff instead of, it just eats up time.
Yep.
Okay, it's one thing to take care of the kid who joins you at the last minute. Otherwise, during COVID, I've been sending out a ton of stuff for the camp, for Friends of Webster and the Order of the Arrow through the U.S. postal system. And it's worked really well. Like most times, overnight delivery to Waterbury from the eastern end of the state. So I urge you to do that, or see who wants to make the drive up if you don't come.
Yep. So Hoss hit the nail on the head. One off, and I've helped people out before. Hey, can you print this out and bring it down to the health office? We can't take 35 of them. Throw them in a priority mail, send it to us, or drop it off, or attend one of our days. We'll put out some more correspondence summarizing that, but we want to make it as accommodating as possible. And then the last item is campsite assignments. So when you reserved a spot, you saved a spot, one of the items is asking for your campsite preferences. And a number of you filled them in where you'd like to be. We need to make sure that the camp fits in comfortably and all the numbers work. So I make the final campsite assignments. And one of the things that helps me do that is when you register your scouts for camp, and I can see the numbers that you have based off your estimated numbers when it comes to that. Depends how, the due diligence that everybody does. The latest we'll do assignments is the Tuesday before. I would much rather do that ahead of time. But the reason I've been hesitated some years is the numbers are not necessarily accurate based off what you estimate that comes to camp, and then what you actually bring to camp which makes it really difficult to be moving 10 platforms on a Sunday afternoon. So the most accurate data we have, it makes it a lot easier for us to let you know and farther in advance and be able to make sure everybody fits in the camp comfortably. And in most cases, not all, but in most cases, we are able to accommodate your preferences, or at least the neighborhood that you'd like to be. And like I said, the Friends of Webster has been working hard to make sure, and the council and the camp staff, to make sure that our campsites, particularly some that need some love and care, are getting that love and care. And we've invested a lot into them as well. So, but everybody has preferences. Some people love on the other side of the lake. Some people hate being on the other side of the lake. Some people love being off the parking lot. Some people hate being off the parking lot, when it comes to that. So we'll do the best that we can, and more information coming forward. But if you did not register your preferences on when you reserved your Save a Spot, just shoot me an email saying, hey, this is the neighborhood we'd like to be in, and we'll do our best to accommodate, and I'll be in communication if for some reason those accommodations are not going to be possible with that. So those are the big items that I had at this point as we sit here in May, leading into camp. I don't know, Nathaniel, if you want to throw anything in, Hoss, Nick, anything that I have missed thus far? What was that?
This just handed to me.
CIT program. So we are still enrolling CITs. We are behind, but this weekend, those that have already enrolled will be getting their confirmation packets emailed to them. CIT program is for those that are 14 or 15 years old, and think of it as kind of a camp staff internship and leadership development program. They're not campers. They're not camp staff. They're learning the ways of a community like ours. They have a chance to earn a merit badge. They're in a patrol together, a troop together, and they do work on both hard and soft leadership skills. It's a great program, and it is $175 for the week for them to do it. If they are recommended by their staff mentors, they could be asked to return for additional weeks at no charge. And frankly, there are some CITs who enroll in the program the last week of June, week 1, and they stay for 7 weeks. And Nathaniel himself, actually, no, we drafted you, right? You were an SBL of your troop. We drafted you, battlefield promotion. But it's a good program. The registration's online. We're gonna, like I said, those that have applied, we're gonna send out acceptances this weekend, and then we're still opening for down the summer. So take a look at that. Yes, John.
Yeah, I'm celebrating the 50th year of when I was a CIT at my favorite camp at that time, Indian Pond.
So if you want to grow up to be like Haas, be a CIT. I see some heads are shaking.
Which way are they shaking?
Okay. I guess with that, I just threw a lot of information at you. It's 8:01, so we're right on time. If folks have questions, if you want to use the raise your hand module here and blurt it out, that's fine.
Site request question. How do they actually, is there a form for that? Or how do
so the site on the Save a Spot, when you put your $50 deposit down, there was a box for campsite preferences. If you didn't do that or don't know what you put on that, just shoot me an email and I will register that when the time comes to get that settled. But the earliest I know hard numbers, the better I can accommodate you by letting you know where we're all going to fit comfortably in each week. Questions? Yes, I see a hand raised for iPhone Leah.
Hi, yeah, the previous camp we went to didn't have the path to first class. Sure. And so I don't really know, is there something we need to do in advance or how does that work?
Great question. So the first class path is our first year camper program. It's designed for new 11-year-old scouts. We don't necessarily recommend it to new 17-year-olds. And it's designed to work on the skills that surround becoming a first class scout. So hard skills that are requirements for tenderfoot, for second class, first class, that process. They meet for 2 hours of instruction during the day, so 9 o'clock and 2 o'clock, working on knots or working on plant identification, those types of things. And then at the 10 and 11 o'clock hours, they're enrolled in a first year campers age appropriate merit badge, one at the Handicraft Lodge and one at the waterfront. So it's either swimming merit badge or swimming instruction, and they move with their cohort. So at 9 o'clock, they go to the first class path area, which is right in the center of camp, which now has paved lawns. And they'll get split into patrols with staff, and they'll do hard skills for an hour. And then one patrol go to the Handicraft Lodge, one will go to the waterfront. Then they'll switch. They'll join you for lunch. They walk through lunch. And then at 2 o'clock, they'll come back to the area for another hour of hard skills. We don't sign off books. We don't, do the final testing. The process outlined by literally Green Bar Bill is you teach a skill, you practice a skill, and then you're tested on the skill to get completion. We'll teach and practice. And then at the end of the week, we'll give you a list of what was taught that week, and that leaves it up to your unit leadership to do the last part and make the determination to sign off in the book.
And signing up for the merit badges for first class path, how are we going to handle that? Because I know it's swimming is one, but they've had another option in handicraft, so I'm not sure where it's probably a Nick Walesa question.
So we know who's enrolled, and so we're going to push them in. So we know who's enrolled in the first class path program. So we know the pool that's either going to be taking swimming or one of the waterfront ones. The hard part is if a scout isn't a blue swimmer, they're going to go to swimming instruction as opposed to swimming merit badge. So these are kind of on the fly roster switches that we're going to do with our staff. But by enrolling them in first class path on Black Pug, we know that they're going to be participating in the sections we've put aside for those merit badges as well. So thank you for the question. So,
and just to follow up then, so after 2, can they do any more merit badges than that they choose?
They can if they choose. Okay. Some of them will take an evening badge. Again, sometimes some kids think I need to win all I can with merit badges. A lot of it's activity based. We don't want to over enroll somebody, but every kid is different, but the possibility does exist for some of the merit badges, either 6:30 fishing merit badge, or some of the evening stuff, or if it's an Eagle Week, some of those off time badges. So yes, and they would enroll in those in the normal process in Black Book. Thank you. Kat's iPhone.
Yeah, hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I missed a huge amount of this because the 6 o'clock, I'm in Central Time, so I completely missed it, but you're going to email this out, right?
Yes, we're going to send the recording out to everybody who's enrolled and post it online immediately after, or sometime reasonably after.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for joining us. All right, next hand up is Wiley, I believe.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Pat. Thank you. 2 quick questions. I have a scout that has dietary restrictions. Is that also just going to be registered through Black Pug?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways to do that. One is, you can add the comment section when registering them for camp. You'll put them on the health form as well, and our health staff reviews them. And then when we meet on Tuesday night on Zoom, I'll have another call for any special accommodations. So some of our most serious dietary needs will most likely get documented multiple ways, but that's not a bad thing for redundancy. And then typically part of the onboarding process on Sunday, our chef and the dining hall staff will be available because a lot of times parents want to talk directly to them, and understandably, and so they can make that. They keep a board on the side that lists every kid and what the accommodations are that are needed. I do see that Pete Roberts is on the call, so I'll have to point out that lobster and shrimp is not a dietary necessity. It is a dietary want. But yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, one other quick question on with the open program. I've got 2 scouts that each missed one part of the swimming merit badge last year. They'll have opportunity just to hit the waterfront in an open time.
Yep. Don't enroll them in the merit badge. Bring the blue card with you. We'll set up a time that works for the scout and works for the staff, and we'll get that done.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Pat. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. David.
Oh, thanks. I'm actually with Pack 61 Cub Scouts in Mansfield.
Excellent.
And just a couple questions I didn't find on the website.
Sure.
Can Weeblos for the mini week, okay, join for those 3 days? And then would they do activities based on the Cub activities?
Correct. Correct.
So because I see there's a separate Weeblos week.
Yes. So the Weeblos week follows the Weeblos requirement structure. And we're about to issue, Charles Priestler, who's our Cubs specialist, is about to issue the guide for that week that we'll disseminate out there, that it follows the basic camp structure that Scout BSA do, but they work on their Weeblos. Back in my day, they were activity pins, but the structure that exists now. So yes.
Okay, but Weeblos can join the Cub Scout mini week if they want to. If they want to be with the rest of the pack.
Yes.
And then would they just do activities?
Yes, that's a great question. So if you're bringing a pack that is Weeblos and Cubs that week, you can all operate as a unit, camp as a unit, and then you'll just send your Weeblos off to the Weeblo track and your younger Cub Scouts off to the Cub Scout track.
Okay, great. And then I wasn't clear as the cutoff. Can I have lions now who will be becoming tigers. All right, during the summer. I'm sorry?
I said, oh my.
Yeah, oh my, right. Can they join the mini week as well? So my question is, can lions join the mini week? Or do you not recommend that?
I would be hesitant if their parents are present. That's different.
Oh yeah. We're requiring every scout to come with their parent.
Yep. Yes. Then we can push some more information out about the particulars, but we rely particularly the Cub program, and not exclusive to Cubs, but this also the Scouts BSA program is, your parents, your kids, and as leaders what works and what doesn't work. And we ask you to kind of use your discretion when advising them on enrollment and that type of thing.
Gotcha.
Yes. Just a quick word. It hasn't come up, but it is a custom of ours that we don't have advertised in a lot of places. But if there's a younger sibling who's a Cub Scout, we run Cub Scout day camp in our Cub country parallel to our Scout BSA camp weeks 1 through 6. So the question has come up every now and then that the Scoutmaster comes to camp. He's got, one son who's a tenderfoot and one son who's a Cub. And can the Cub come to camp and then stay? So the short answer to that is yes, they can stay with the parent is in camp. We'll just charge them for breakfast and dinner, and they would enroll in the Cub Scout day camp program. And they're not, and just to be clear, they're not participants in the resident camp program, but they can stay here with their sibling and their parent, and then each morning go down to the Cub country at the Parago Center and do the Cub specific programs. So we do allow that aspect, which is a convenience for some families as well. We don't advertise it, but by longstanding custom and tradition, we do that. I also chuckle because it's always the Scoutmaster's kid who, at the end of the day, the Cub day camp director calls me up and says, Sparky's still down here. And I have to go find the Scoutmaster who's doing a watermelon scramble saying, hey, come get your kid. So but that is available if anybody wants to do that. So
thanks for the information. Just one quick question. This is a separate question, but who would I speak to about camping overnight during the fishing derby?
If you send me a note, I will forward it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for all your time.
Thank you. Any other questions before we wrap it up? Respectful of your time. Judy.
Sorry, I put it in the chat. Yeah, I was wondering about, we're starting a new girls troop. We're putting out all the advertisements and starting recruiting like right now. If week 2 closes before we kind of get up and running and know who wants to go out of those girls that join, are they out of luck? Like what do we do?
So
it's the week of July 3rd.
Right.
So we have the only week we've closed for the purposes of a charter unit enrolling is week 3. At this point, week 2 hasn't closed. I don't expect it to be closed for new unit registration. So you know, if you have a new unit and come in, just stay in communication with me, and we'll happily accommodate. Some people love the 4th of July week because they don't have to take another vacation day. Some people hate the 4th of July week as well. So, you know, just stay in communication and we should be good.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, I thank all of you for your time. I'll be in communication again about what happens next in our next get together. But I'm getting excited for camp, and hopefully all of you are as well. And I'm looking forward to a great time. So thank you all, and don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you.